In a world of blockbuster movies, there's another dimension.
The dimension of schlock cinema. Join us at Beautiful Disasters on a journey into the fringe territory of B-movie abandon.
We review the flicks that are forgotten or underappreciated to give them a proper place in the annals of celluloid history.
I'm the Groots,
F.U. Hunter,
your guides at Beautiful Disasters. Come along with us for a fun ride. May the schlock be with you.
The views and opinions expressed on Geekfather are those of the panelists and not those of the Geeks Under the Influence Network, their affiliates, or sponsors. Listener discretion is advised. This is for the parents and not for the kiddies.
Geekfire!
Can you try one more time? Say Geekfather real loud.
Geekfire way out!
Hey guys, welcome back. That's right, if you survived the little cold blast that we had and you're keeping your toes all nice and warm at this point, that's right, you're listening to the Geekfathers, bringing all the trials and tribulations of being a geeky parent right to your face, your ear holes, your whatever, we're bringing it to you here. So of course, if you hear me already tripping over my feet.
Right down your ear holes.
That's right. I am Scotty P, here for you, and of course my partner in crime, the guy beside me, fellow baldness glasses wearing fool with beards and such. You know, I've got Smash.
Some bitch. What's going on, man?
Well, I wasn't gonna go all some bitch on you, but you know,
some bitch.
Some bitch.
Some bitch.
Yeah,
that's right. What's going on?
None, man.
Cheers.
Cheers, sir. Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays to all.
Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays.
Yeah, we last brought to you right before Christmas, so of course, in timing with our episode release, we're coming to you right before New Year's.
Yeah,
that's right. So just as the disclaimer, always party safely, be mindful of others, be respectful of others, and bring in the new year hopefully with friends and families, you know, people that you're close with, because now you are officially listening to 2022. Our year-end review.
That's right, baby.
That's right. Woo!
We got, movies and streaming. We got a lot to talk about.
Well, when we're going to try to fit it, we're not doing an extra episode here, so we got to try to fit whatever we can into our normal blabbering, old man tangent, whatever it may be.
That's right.
Guys, we're going to be all over the place with this episode, but basically, again, we're getting ready for the new year, guys. We know this year has been, to say the least, crazy, nuts, not always going our way, but we're coming out on top either way, and we're hopefully going to be doing the same going into 2023.
Yeah.
So that's the plan.
I don't, that's the plan.
I hope the kids are on board because this train is rolling.
I saw, a funny TikTok video on Instagram because I'm, too good to have TikTok. Mm-hmm. It's the same thing. And it was essentially...
I watch all my TikTok through Facebook Reels like a real grown-up.
That's right. I saw that too. And I was like, God damn, I identify with that shit.
Yes. My wife had me pinned to that. She's like, that's what you do.
That's right. Yeah.
I'm an old man.
Everything's outdated there that we do.
Damn right.
All of our jokes are outdated. But it was... Yeah, the video was... It was funny because it was like, going into 2023, like new year, new me. No, fuck that. No. I'm going into 2023 army crawling. I'm gonna take my time. I'm gonna look around before I get started.
We are being so cautious right now.
I swear.
And of course, again, the Facebook memories popping up of what was the real bad one around 2016. Where it was all hoping next year's not a shit show like 2016 and everything. I had so many of those Facebook memories pop up from then. I was like, man, I mean, we've had a rough few years since then, but that was a peak one. That was a peak time.
In terms of society, I think we've had a good year since 96, maybe 97.
Yeah, I mean, if we really want to put it out there, as an old man and growing up in that time, the 90s were the tits, dude.
I would say even later. I think 99, 2000. Obviously, I think 9/11 changed. That started the wave of change for
it did,
for a lot
actually.
of things.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, and we're at that point now where a lot of people weren't even alive to really see that pivot point on the way
or
things
if they
had
were,
changed.
they were too young to understand.
I actually know someone whose birthday was on 9/11 that year.
Oh,
their mother was in the middle of labor by the time the second plane hit.
Jeez.
Yeah. So.
Well,
it's
you can
crazy.
hope. I mean, that's definitely something. I can't imagine having that birthday every year. It's got to feel so overshadowed. I wonder if they,
yeah. Not so much anymore, I would think.
Yeah,
but
probably not as
but
much
definitely
anymore.
the first 5 to 10 years was heavy.
5 to 10 years, that's a lot.
Fuck, dude. I mean,
no shit. But everything's just changed so much, and this year, personally, for both of us and for a lot of others, there's a lot of tragedy. There's a lot of loss.
Yes.
A lot of, probably potential PTSD or anxiety caused from it all. But,
very true.
We persevere, and that's where I'm. For me, going into 2023 is I am cautious while trying to play the long game and be, as I get older, it's more about the long game than it is.
Very much so, and then that's why we are going to try to touch more on,
each other.
Well, always.
Yes.
I mean, duh. But
off camera.
Well, fortunately, this is an audio podcast. This is not visual, which I've always said. I mean, I told you, I have a face for audio. We'll leave it at that. So, but we're going to be talking about some fun movies, though, because we've always, even on this show being a parenting one, I should say especially being a parenting one, we always talk about a variety of movies, TV shows, and there was so much that came out this past year.
Yeah, there was a lot of bigums.
There were some big ones. There were some fun little indie ones. We're not going to touch on everything.
And we haven't seen everything. I mean, dude, that's impossible.
Groot's put it the best way, and other people have said this as well, where it's not a matter of the access you have. It's a matter of there's just too much content. You cannot keep up with it. I mean, you probably could, but you don't have much of a social life, and you definitely don't have kids.
Oh, that's true.
I mean, that's not to say it to be mean. That's just the way it rolls.
And eventually here we're going to roll into like sort of a rapid fire on streaming as well as like theatrical releases.
I'm going to try to.
But before we get into that, we should probably go over a little bit of our personal favorites for 2022, and it doesn't have to be any similar thing or same thing. It could be either theatrical, it could be either streaming, whatever you want.
Sure.
But in terms, if you had to pick a top 3 of the best content that your brain downloaded this year, what would it be?
Wow.
It's hard because there's so much shit.
There is, and that's the whole thing is that besides a few things just keeping up with, just to keep up with it in general, it was really trying to push my children into venturing out a little bit. There were, I will say, and I'm going to be all over the board with this top 3 thing because, and this may not even be my final top 3 for stuff, but it's
hard to come up because there's probably hundreds of things that could pop into your brain.
Sure.
But this would be like the absolute top content that you watched, whether with your kids or alone. There's no restriction on this one. Just top 3.
There's going to be, one of the top ones is going to be a movie, which was X. Which led into the movie which unfortunately I haven't seen the sequel to it yet. Well, technically prequel, to, Pearl. But X,
I haven't seen either or. So
great. I mean, you love the slasher, different demented horror movie. Scary shit.
Yeah.
Great movie, and ended up being the reason why it's so memorable, besides being a great horror movie in general, is it was a first date night that the wife and I had after a long period of time.
Has special meaning.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yes, exactly. So, there's always that. I would say I may give a 4th because we did our first full family outing to a movie theater this year, all 4 of us.
Okay.
Which was Thor: Love and Thunder.
Okay.
So that's a top one, even though
Does that base it on experience versus the actual content of the movie?
Yes.
Okay. I totally get that.
Because we've talked Thor, and if you go back and listen to the GUI flagship episode on Thor, I was on that one as well. Yeah, we kind of ripped it a new one. Again,
Yeah, when you're out of that like haze of like your children, like that experience you have with your kids at the theater, where they're enjoying a movie. My daughter, she would at the end of every movie, especially because when she was younger, it was more kid related, obviously.
Absolutely, yeah.
At the end they'd have some song or some pop song, and at the end of every movie she would get up and as everybody's leaving the theater and there's no one in there, she's up front and dancing in front of the screen. And she doesn't really do that anymore, but it's those experiences that can make a movie
exactly
fun or good. Like I wouldn't go back and watch something right now. Like recently I think I saw Red Panda or
Red Panda on Disney Plus.
Or not two, but Red Panda, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, which was okay. But watching it with her, she was really, she enjoyed it. And so I was enjoying it with her. But watching it alone, I was like, it's okay. It's not amazing. Like, it's pretty good.
Yeah, there's definitely... Well, and that even leads into... Like I said, I'm going to technically have 4. My third one, which is a series on Netflix, I think one of my kids actually jumped ahead on us. But there's a cartoon series on there called Dead End Paranormal Park. And if you know my kids at all, they have a love for the horror, different stuff like that. I'll even bring up another series that Logan loves to watch, a little documentary series. However, the main character in this is a transgender person who has issues at home, finds their way to working in a park that ends up being haunted by this one popular character person, actress, and everything, and creates friends, does all this stuff while one of their friends is a demon and there's an actual elevator in their house that goes up and down.
That's pretty cool.
And but the stories told in the different thing in this cartoon it's hilarious. It's kid friendly, even though I'm sure some of the stuff I just said, some people are like aghast and clutching their pearls, and
I mean, in terms of us as geek fathers, there's a lot of parents out there. They have a much different perception of it. They're not into the content like that, and so they're a little more restrictive. Some, I'm sure, are a lot more restrictive.
Absolutely, so. But the whole thing is that it puts so much out there on Front Street, but is still so kid friendly as well. There's nothing explicit about this. There's jokes. There's certain things. A few jokes kind of go over the kids' heads a little bit. But they both enjoy it. They both comprehend, where the characters, how they're developing. And it's a fun story.
Yeah.
So that's something that's a series that just myself and my children have watched together.
You should show them Are You Afraid of the Dark? Old and new. I haven't watched a new one necessarily, so I'm not going to, I don't have any particular opinion on it. I think I saw like the first 5 or 10 minutes of the first episode.
Trying to get them to sit down for a few things, but yeah, there have been some adventures into trying to, figure out a few other series.
See if they can handle X-Files. It might be too boring for them.
There's a little bit too much talky, depending on the episodes and stuff. But the fourth one, I'll say a big impact just for me because a lot of the subject matter was parenting children, carrying on the next level, doing different things like that, was Wakanda Forever, the sequel to Black Panther.
That's a great movie.
And for me personally, that touched on like home to me on so many levels. Like me personally, as a parent, as a child, as a trying to how do you fight the powers that be to make a better world? However you want to go on it. Again, I was fortunate enough to be on GY flagship episode for that one as well.
Right.
That one. And also I push on that because, man, we should probably have checked the dates beforehand, but there may be one more episode, or if they haven't done the last episode already.
I think the last episode comes after the new year.
Are they doing one more? I couldn't remember what Hobbit and Lowdown were scheduling.
I believe it's after the new year, so definitely keep an ear out for that.
So it definitely will not go past January. I know that much.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that was really my top ones where I think of what hit hard. Not only as in great content, but a little bit of family meaning as well.
Yeah.
For those. So I spin it back to you, of course, sir. Your top 3 of the year.
Well, Stranger Things season 4, hands down.
Good one. You know what? I could just make a top 5 as well because we did watch.
I mean, listen, we can make a top 50, but I wanted to do the top 3 of 2022.
But we did watch that season as a family as well. We totally did a binge watch on that together, all 4 of us. So,
and I would say, I mean, I'll mix it up and I'll mix it because I have a couple. I have another streaming one, but I would say Stranger Things season 4. In terms of theatrical release, Top Gun Maverick. I mean, hands down. The Batman was great. I really enjoyed it. It was awesome. A bit reductive, and it was kind of like there was.
Well, we all know DC is about to.
I know it's about to switch up, and it's a great movie, but there's a lot of things in there that I was like, after thinking about it, I was like, it really didn't need to be there. There wasn't these. I know there's action and stuff, but this is supposed to be more detective related. So I had my issues, but Top Gun Maverick, I've watched it like 20 times. I'm telling you, it is a great goddamn movie.
We have access to Paramount Plus. Like it's a great a sequel, especially after decades after the original one. It's a fun movie. I love it. It expands a little bit on the storyline. I do kind of miss the fact of I was told that it would have been a great one to see in theater, at least in IMAX, just because of how it was shot. Cinematography-wise with the planes and,
Yeah. That was,
So.
Come on. Any geek father would have known to go into that.
And I knew that I just didn't get a chance to. That's my whole thing.
Yeah. Well, it also literally cost you a small fortune for you and the whole family.
Oh, sure. Take out a second mortgage on the house just to take
for a fucking 3D movie?
Yeah.
Or not 3D, but an IMAX?
IMAX,
for sure.
yes.
Or 3D, to be honest. IMAX 3D. Fuck.
Oh, Jesus.
That's expensive. And for me, it was a triple thing because I got to see it with, Jem. And who, if anybody out there doesn't know, like we just recently got engaged.
Yay!
So, I saw it with her and we loved it so much. It's like our movie now. It's so weird how that happens sometimes where you're like the most unexpected. She had never seen the original, and we went and saw it and it like blew her away. And she was like, that was awesome.
And honestly, Maverick had a way better love story. I mean, they finally gave, I could, on a personal level.
Well, they did it really well. And
but they finally gave Maverick a true love interest, not just a throwaway love that you knew that was not going to last after the movie.
I think even some of the tagline for criticism, like, promoting the movie as far as commercials is just like, bringing back the magic of filmmaking, like something like that. But I mean, I agree with. There's a way that movie is made that it made me feel the way that I felt when I watched old movies.
Did you not hear
when I was
how they
younger.
had to film that?
No, it was a law practice, and I think
like the way they had the camera sitting in the cockpit, and then because there was so the equipment. They actually had outside attached to the plane, like they rigged these cameras. And it was actually Tom Cruise flying.
No, I know that. I know that.
But like the way I
think a lot of them were. I think the whole team were flying in some form or fashion.
For a lot of them, but the way they filmed it, the cameras were attached to actual planes flying. It wasn't like stock footage of other random things. Everything you saw in this movie were people flying planes to film for this movie.
Oh, yeah.
So all the tricks, all the stuff.
Well, look, the opening of the movie, he's flying an experimental jet, and he's going over to the guard tower.
Yeah.
Or not tower, but the guard stand, or whatever it is. Right. Hut. And he's going, and the generals just showed up, and it's going, and the top, blows up. Because of the force of the plane going,
impact,
just ripped the roof up, and that was unintentional. But it's so good. I mean, the way that they started that movie was just great for me. Nostalgia when they started it with the song, but they didn't. They did use nostalgia, but they didn't use it in a cheap way. Not that I felt.
No.
I think they used it in a really good way to further a story along. Now, all these things might have things in common with their predecessor. That's why they're a sequel.
Yeah.
They're built off of the same story.
And let me raise my glass to Val Kilmer.
Yes.
For actually overcoming all the health shit that he had or has. And actually, the fact that he spoke lines. I was like, oh man, because if you know,
I bet that had to hurt like a son of a bitch.
That's what I mean. Like that whole, as soon as I heard the line of his wife in the movie, going, it even hurts to talk.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh man, is he actually going to say something? Because if anybody listening doesn't know about Val Kilmer, was it actually cancer or something else? I can't remember. But something, basically, some disease attacked his throat, like totally out of the blue some years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why he hasn't been acting.
Yeah.
And he's just, and like when he popped up in Jay and Silent Bob Reboot, he played the reboot version of Silent Bob so he wouldn't have to talk.
Yeah.
You know, it was little stuff like that when he started making his appearances.
Which is
again.
pretty awesome that he was in that, by the way.
Oh, dude, yeah. I mean, I love it. But the fact that he came back as Iceman, that they were still friends, and, you know, they led into a great with the texting. And then when Maverick first shows up to see him,
mm-hmm.
he's typing on his computer, and then he actually has a couple lines that he says. Well, I was like, oh.
Well, with the dialogue in it was good. You know, Miles Teller was excellent. Like, everybody was just so good. I mean, the fight sequence at the end, after they complete their mission, and spoiler alert, Miles Teller, you know, Maverick gets shot down, and Miles Teller goes back for him.
Right.
And they have to end up getting in an F-14, which is what Tom Cruise flew in the original Top Gun.
Right.
And in the movie, he's even like, it's been a while. Like, it's like it's old as shit. And Miles Teller as his backup back there was like, every line that he did, no matter how simplistic it was the timing was so perfect that even every time I watch it, we laugh.
Or when he was talking about, you need to find this one fuse, and he's like, there are so many fuses, and he's like, I don't know, that was your father's job.
Yeah.
It was just
I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
I'll figure it out.
Right.
And then when the 5th gen fighter like does that, like opens like 30 flaps and like flips around, like does some weird shit, and Miles like what? And you just hear Tom Cruise is just like, what? And Miles Teller in the back is like, what the fuck was that? Like, it was just so perfectly timed that no matter how simple some of the lines might have been, were just delivered so perfectly.
But it was the play. But that was, and unfortunately, I'm horrible about the name of the actor who played Goose in the original. But if you remember from the original, that was the exact banter that both Goose and Maverick had as well.
No, it was
in
very
the original,
much so.
And but the way they had it so natural as banter, it wasn't like a forced acting thing, just reading a script.
Right.
That does tend to come off sometimes with certain things like that, but it was a very natural back and forth for them, and that helped add to the movie as well. So
yeah, I agree. So that's my number 2, and then number 3. It would have been different, but up until recently. But we sat and we watched Wednesday. I gotta give it to Wednesday. That show was fucking awesome.
I have not seen it yet.
It is awesome, and Jenna Ortega slays it. Everybody in that movie kills it. It's Tim Burton at like his horror best, because it's a little violent, even for like, you know, I guess Batman's in my mind is like the more violent one that I can think of that he's done.
True.
That wasn't, you know, so like it wasn't more of the animated style. It was just it was awesome. I was so blown away. I was like not very interested in it at all. My daughter had seen it.
Mm-hmm.
I'd heard great things. And then one day, you know, me and Jen, we sat down and didn't have anything to do that day. And it was early in the day, like 10 o'clock in the morning.
Nice.
And that was an entire day binge, pretty much. And
that's what I've got to do too, yeah.
We started it, and it was just like, after the first episode, we're like, fuck, that was good. Like, Jenna Ortega's killing it.
Yep.
And Christina Ricci was great as, you know, as Wednesday. But I think she said it best. I saw, it was some clip, not clip, but it was like an
interview,
a transcribed part of the picture sort of thing of what she was saying, and talking about how she feels about the Wednesday. And she's like, about Jenna Ortega's one, she's like, she thinks it's amazing, and I agree with it, that, you know, it's like Wednesday has always been a supporting character, and this is the first time she's up front and center. And Fester is great, and they did movies which more centered around him.
Yeah. The remake with Angelica Houston and Raul Julia for the lead roles.
Right,
and
yeah,
stuff.
from the original TV show.
Right.
You know, were fantastic, and but this one centering around Wednesday, she's the way that Tim Burton and his crew showed just actually a very layered performance, which shocked me. I was like, I didn't think you could do something like that with a character like Wednesday, but I guess what he put her through and the way the script was written, by the end of the show, I was like, what the fuck just happened? I feel like I just got pistol whipped, but with like such good content. So anyways, that would be my top 3. But I definitely, if you haven't seen it, watch Wednesday and watch it with the family. Yeah. It's great.
Yeah, I was about to say
it's got that horror element that just enough that's appropriate enough for the kids to love as well.
Yeah, well, I mean, my kids too. Yeah, they love some of that horror stuff, and it sounds like that's probably what's going to happen is that it's going to be like one of those where we may have a bad weather day again or something, and we're all just stuck inside, and it's just like put that on and watch it and just have a day on the couch is probably what's going to happen for theirs. So.
Yeah, there's so much more content. I could go into Willow. I think my 4th would be Willow.
Well, Willow isn't done yet, but it's so not.
That's why I didn't put it on the list.
Yeah.
But every episode, like I have my issues with it, but it's been blowing me away. You know, we can go on a nerd tangent right now.
We could so nitpick that thing right now. But that is the struggle that I've had where I'm just like, as soon as I was like, oh yeah, Willow's coming out, and even my wife is kind of like, eh. But I'm like, to my kids, I'm like, no, we got to watch this movie and watch this series.
Fucking Mad Mardigan? Are you kidding me?
And they're like, basically like going, what the fuck? And walking out of the room, I'm like, no, it's Willow.
Yeah, like, are you kidding me?
Yes,
like,
I saw Willow in the theaters.
I know, it's amazing.
God damn, it's awesome.
It's a great. I watched it before I watched the series. I rewatched the movie because it's been a long time. And I mean, obviously, effects-wise, you have to kind of readjust your...
because what was Willow, like late 80s?
Oh, it was like 80... I want to... like
88?
Yeah, 87, 88. Because
something like that.
Because Warwick Davis was really young. Because I think he had just... 83 was...
83 was
Return of the Jedi.
Return of the Jedi, and he was coming off that as Wicket.
And I'm sure he's done. He did a million things in between. Then I'm not sure what that was, but when he got Willow, he was young. Like he was.
Well, he was basically he was still technically a kid when he did Star Wars.
He was a kid.
Yeah.
The first Star Wars, I'm pretty sure he was an actual kid.
Yeah, but so I want to say. Yeah, so it was still late 80s, man. I want to say, see, now I'm going to...
Yeah, Google that shit. Because I'm telling you...
I'm doing your job, remember?
It was definitely late 80s for
You're supposed to be doing this, not me.
Well, you've already started. With no reason to stop.
1988? Yeah.
Yeah, 1988. So that's, and effects-wise, they were actually ahead of their... I would say ahead of their time. They weren't, Spielberg... Sort of,
it was still George Lucas with magic and light rain, Skywalker Ranch and all that stuff, where he had already built his own company for doing the special effects at that point. So it was top notch shit. Whatever Magic Light and something is the name of the company.
I think it's,
or at least it was. I can't remember anymore.
ILM, no. Was it ILM?
Industrial Light and Magic.
Industrial Light and Magic.
That's what it is.
Yeah, ILM.
Thank you.
They did a great job. Even the transformation of the trolls to the to the special effects of Willow whenever he used the power, or essentially
the glowing on the wand to whatever it may.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Or Bad Morta. So as special effects wise, for that time, it was really good.
Yeah.
And I mean, they did pretty good. And I enjoyed watching it. Watching it, I automatically felt like I was, 6-7 years old, just being this is the greatest thing.
Taking it back to just some of that early fantasy stuff where, Lord of the Rings is a lot of people say the all-time fantasy, but that when it comes down to it, Lord of the Rings is still way more adult. Willow gave you a taste of all the good stuff, but can be way younger and still comprehend the stuff going on.
Yeah, it never. It wasn't. Going raunchy, and it's very. It's actually a very family. Movie. I tried to get the kid to watch it, but it might be too old for her.
That it's definitely.
She might appreciate it for older to laugh at it maybe, but
Yeah, well, the series definitely has a little bit more little one-liner jokes and stuff, which is
the series has the humor. It has the atmosphere that Willow presented, and that's really important because I didn't, everything else is character-wise, and they're going to bring him back as they bring him back.
Sure, yeah.
but watching it was like, oh, I feel like I'm watching the Willow movie, but it's not the Willow movie. It's something, and it's its own thing. It really is. And they did great. They've done great with the movie and the dialogue, and it's almost very almost like contemporary-ish in the way that they do. It's very contemporary. So I think they've done a great job. And honestly, if I had seen the end and it's as good as I think it's going to be, I would probably put that above Wednesday. But right now, Wednesday stands at number 3 of the best content that I've seen so far in 2022.
Right, because I was about to say there's a minimum of 3 more episodes of Willow, so it's going to go into the next year and all that. So,
right,
but
that's it's so good.
So much.
It's so good.
So much and so good.
All right, now I will say we watched the final ending because you got caught up.
Yes.
We can go ahead and talk real quick about, do you think, spoiler alert to anyone who hasn't watched the Willow TV series, cut it off now, because we're talking about the most current episode. For at least
a few minutes, because we've already gone such a deep dive on everything.
Are we way behind?
We're at just over 30 minutes already.
Oh, wow. So we got to get into our speed rounds and then...
Right.
We got to get in the speed rounds, people. Okay. So, real quick, how would you rate that episode compared to the ones you've seen so far? 1 through 10, obviously 10 being the best.
Wow. To actually rate it, that's going to be the hard part. It's definitely at least an 8. Okay. I would say.
That's fair.
Because, no episode is going to be a 10 right now.
No.
Because I've still got too much to nitpick on.
There's that we need more connective tissue.
A 9... I'm going to hold off on a 9 because fingers crossed, I still have hope for a Val Kilmer cameo as Mad Martin.
I certainly hope so. I mean, they can do it. They can de-age him. He doesn't even have to speak if his son can do it. It's Disney. They can fucking do anything they want.
Technically, they don't have to de-age him, really, if you think about it either.
I'm sure they built a lifelike android model of him, and then his son can do the voice.
Yes.
And there you go.
Very much so.
I mean, listen, when it came to Luke Skywalker...
Dude,
in The Mandalorian season 2,
that was Mark Hamill.
That was Mark Hamill, and all they did, and he fought, and all they did was de-age him.
Yep.
With the computer. So it's anything is possible at this moment. And you got a taste of it in this episode with his voice calling out to his daughter.
Well, you have the voice for something like that, which we don't know if it's actually him or not, though. That's the key. But also, it's very easy to say neck injury, he can't talk.
Yeah.
But if he still has the strength and any of the skill set to flip a sword a little bit, stab a couple baddies, we don't know.
That might be stretch. I don't think they're going to do that just because he was calling out to her. So maybe, I don't know that him, unless he was doing it telepathically.
Because his son could also even be a stunt double for him too when it comes down to it.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like they can do that and then put his face on there. They can make it happen so that the Mad Mardigan.
It's all about camera angle and just a brush up on the Photoshop.
So I have high hopes. We have high hopes for it. But in this episode, I would probably rate it. I think 8 is fair. I do 8.5 just because. Well,
this is where the story gets heavy too.
Because it got heavy, but everybody's one-liners were on point. The jokes were on point. The drama was on point, and Christian fucking Slater.
He was gleaming the cue, baby.
Dude, I'm telling you right now, I never get tired. He's such a fun actor, and he's a good actor, and I'll pump up the volume, which we talked about a million times before.
Yes.
From, Cuffs to Heathers, Gleaming the Cue.
That god-awful Alone in the Dark horror movie based on a game type movie that he did, it wasn't him that was bad. That was just shitty writing.
Hard Rain, who we did with Morgan Freeman, which is about a flood happening during a bank heist. Was actually good. It was really well done. I've seen that within the past few years.
And he's done some great TV series stuff that we were talking about, like Mr. Robot. There was that one we can't remember the title for off the top of my head.
Well, he's a secret agent, doesn't know he's a secret agent.
Right. Which is funny when he does Mr. Robot, where he's a secret agent of some type,
Right.
But
and so him being, and he did a phenomenal job. He turned this what probably could have been a very easy throwaway character, and just gave it fucking life.
Has us guessing how much he's actually going to be in the series.
Yeah. At this point, you don't know because, you don't know if he's a shithead.
Again, spoilers.
And he's Mad Margan's brother, which I didn't know. Allagash.
Well, yeah, it was kind of made to be a throwaway line, but if you caught it, you're like, hold on, wait a minute, let's rethink this a bit.
Yeah,
and so it's
he was with traveling. If you've watched the show so far, then you find out that he was traveling with his brother Mad Mardigan and
Squire Borman
and Borman, right?
Yeah, which is Mad Mardigan's squire, but there is controversy on if there is actual betrayal or what happened at this point.
At this point, I don't know what the fuck to believe, but I do know we'll find out, and I'm really hoping, like you said, Mad Mardigan explains it all they do it in some cool way like that.
Yeah.
Obviously, Bad Morta is the baddie, and she's going to come around to it. So
absolutely, yeah.
That's Willow. If you haven't watched it, fucking watch it.
Even if you caught these spoilers, well worth the watch on the series and
all right,
more fun stuff.
All right, so now it's a quick fun segment. This is a speed round. I'm gonna name off 10 streaming and 10 theatrical, and you just one word answer. It's either pass if you haven't seen it, great, or bad. And I know that there's a lot of gray area there, but in terms of speed round, that's what I want. Or you can do okay.
You're way more prepared on this than I. This will probably just be a one-way conversation, really.
All right, so I'm just going to ask you, and I'm going to say the name. You either know it or you don't. Pass, good, bad.
Okay.
All right?
Go.
All right, here we go. I'm going to start with theatrical releases.
Okay.
The Batman.
Good.
Scream.
Good.
Jurassic World Dominion.
Pass.
Pass. Thor Love and Thunder.
As a nerd, I'll have to pass.
Okay. Morbius.
Oh, god awful. God, get that the fuck away from me.
Maverick.
Pass. Or no, good. I mean, good.
The Lost City.
The Lost. Oh, shit, haven't seen that yet.
Okay.
Damn.
Pass. Sonic the Hedgehog 2.
Oh, good. Awesome.
Good.
Awesome.
And I think I'll go ahead and, you know what? I know you haven't seen it. I know you have seen it because you talked about it earlier, so I'll just throw it out there. Wakanda Forever.
Always 2 thumbs up, top 10, always.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, so we'll do...
I probably didn't answer those correctly, but everybody understood what I was saying.
All right. So, all right, now I'm going to throw this out, and this is just streaming, so it could be movies or shows.
Okay.
Pearl.
Oh, thumbs up.
Thumbs up. Smile.
Haven't seen it yet.
Bullet Train.
Have not seen it yet.
Pass. Okay. Matrix. Resurrection.
Oh, awesome. Awesome.
You enjoyed it? Wow. You're the first person that I've really heard say that.
No, I thought it was great. I mean, they adapted the time well. I mean, what for creating a storyline for how, again, why these sequels are coming out of nowhere, who knows? I mean, people need to make money, I guess. But the way they updated how the Matrix works, how a few things have changed, how it has gone on beyond a god complex, and that there's, just the way there's this weird balance on things. I thought it was a great job on what they did.
You thought so? Okay.
Yeah, especially for being, I would say for some of those people involved with it, it was definitely a cash grab.
Oh, for sure.
But Keanu is king, always. They still had great actors throughout the whole movie, including someone who will always be one of my top actors, which is Neil Patrick Harris.
Okay. Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Fuck yes.
And Andor.
Oh, awesome. Yes. Yes. Yes.
And I'm going to throw this out there because I'm currently watching it, Sandman.
I have not seen Sandman yet. Again, that's one of those where it's just like, I haven't touched Netflix a whole lot, other than I got caught up on some of the Mike Flanagan stuff earlier this year, but I haven't touched Netflix a whole lot other than a couple of the things I've watched with the kids.
All right, and I only have one more, The Boys, season 3.
Oh, fuck yes.
That's a fuck yes?
Yeah,
that's a good?
Oh, yeah, that's a good. That's a good. Yeah, again, I probably didn't answer it the way you were intended, but I think it was a given on...
That's
what everything was. So, and see, I don't even have that shit for you, so this is totally going to be a one-sided thing.
I mean, it doesn't have to. I mean, you could, listen. There's plenty of lists you could think off the top of your head, but I know that we don't have the time because we went off on everything else. So next time you get to do that for me, starting our first episode of 2023.
Well, I will think of a good list of.
We'll do a bleed over segment, and you get to ask me.
It may not even be a bleed over. I may change it a little bit. But
all right. Well, we'll find out.
We'll have some fun going into 2023. We'll make sure our first episode has some giddiness to it, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's our comparenting segment. Have we done it yet? Are we going to do it? Do we have time?
We have time for We have time for comparenting.
That's right.
And of course, I'm gonna meme the shit out of you for everything I've got because that's the way I always love to roll.
And I'm not gonna go. I'm not gonna go into a huge comparenting segment on my end with statistic stuff because there's a lot of
Mr. Detail.
Right.
I know.
I am going to only say this. Current from what I found from current statistics is PewResearch.org shows that in terms of majority of parents are concerned that their child might spend too much time on screens and have reached out to doctors, right? And I think we've previously touched on this, but I wanted to get actual facts that they ever get parenting advice or information about screen time. And this is what doctors say. 61% doctors and other medical professionals, yes. And that's a lot. Like as a parent, be like, should they have screen time is more of a psychological thing. But I can see how it would affect them if they're, going to sleep with the TV on, things like that. If
right.
It can affect their sleep time.
Sure.
But they have a 71% rate as far as parents that are concerned that their child might ever spend too much time in front of the screens, right? And then you have 84% that are confident in their ability to know how much screen time is appropriate for their child. So I bet you that most of those percentages is probably interchangeable where the people are like,
sure,
yes, yeah. I do get concerned. At the same time, I'm confident enough as a parent to know when enough is enough.
Well, I'm in that boat 100%.
Yeah.
Where I sit there and go, because right now, we're recording the last week of holiday break. So it's the kids got extra games for Christmas. They've had some extra game time. They've had some more leeway on stuff, but it's also going like, no, we got to get back on the schedule. We got to start doing this.
Yeah.
So it's that battle of, I know you'll be okay, but I still have to put it into your mind that you're not supposed to be having as much game time during the week, like if you're
or any
when you're
screen time whatsoever.
Right.
It includes watching things too, but I can see where over 80% of the parents are like, listen, we're confident to know how to raise our kid in this age.
Sure.
At the same time, you have a lot that are not so. You have a high percentage that are not confident in a world of like, how do I raise my kid in this world?
Sure.
This digital age with social media and things like that. But I do agree that like that number. I was like, damn, that's a lot of parents. Like, no, we're confident that we know how to do this, how to navigate this, even though. I don't know if it's the hardest age to be a parent, but it's definitely different. It's different
time.
From what our parents dealt with.
Sure. My parents still have the confidence in the way they, like I will always say, my parents, I don't see them as doing anything wrong with the way they raised us, but there was definitely their mentality of they had a little bit of trouble with the ebbs and flow of the changing times.
Right. Once you kind of get into the flow, though, even the older, the older generations, they can get into it.
Oh, my parents
popping a beer.
There you go. And my parents have been great, like doing stuff, but you can still definitely tell, like some like certain comments. And again, it's nothing. It's not bad comments. It's not wrong comments, but it's just like it's not quite that clear cut.
Yeah.
There's still some different things happening. But that's a whole different story right there. So that actually goes into... Well, I'll just do the one meme because, again, we're a little short on time here and we still got to do our outro for everything. But that even kind of goes into... Or it can very much evolve into I've got a fun picture of a husband and wife And you can definitely tell it's like from a murder documentary or going to be TV series. Something.
Right. So it almost looks like a take of that old school painting of the farmer and his wife holding a shovel and a pickaxe or something.
The pitchfork and all that.
Yeah.
But the husband is putting on like a glove, like how you would hide your fingerprints, and the woman is cutting a rose, kind of like almost like a Morticia style, about to do that. But the
times
caption,
have changed, brother.
That's true. But the caption is, my wife and me hearing some random person yell at our child. So, and the reason why I take that from some of the screen time and everything is because it's not a matter of yelling at the child. It's a matter of someone else thinking they can step over a certain line to, I don't even want to say discipline, but think they have the right to...
What, parent your kid?
Yeah, basically. Like that, like... There's a big difference between friends when we're like, no, don't do that. And that's not my child, but it's my friend's child, and they should know better. And how we handle family units, like non-blood family units, really is the best way to put that.
Right, yeah.
You know.
Chosen family.
Yeah, chosen family. Like there are times where it's like, you're at my house and my son pulls out a knife. You have all rights to be like, no, do not pull out a knife and take the knife away from him.
For sure.
You know, that's a little bit more extreme. Absolutely.
And I would expect you to do the same thing.
Absolutely. You know, there are certain things there that we would do for each other's children.
Because it's through the safety of them as well. And as well. But if they say something, or if they're playing on this a video game, you can come in and be like, you shouldn't be playing that. But like, the fuck are you?
Right, exactly. Exactly.
Get out of my house.
Yeah, and so it's just, and especially when someone wants to, like, and I've never experienced this, or else you would probably see me on the 6 o'clock news, where this person will actually basically ignore the parent is there, and they go and try to discipline or do something about yelling or telling the child what to do, and it's just like,
yeah.
Hold on.
You never overstep that line.
No way.
I've had to tell family, like, listen, maybe family.
Yeah.
But you're not their parent. That's me. You don't say or do those sort of things, or that's me.
Right. Even like, well, especially like, because like my parents watch The Boys, but even though I'm home working,
yeah,
there are still times where it's just like, I let them deal with it because technically I am supposed to be working. It's supposed to be that mentality type thing that I'm working.
Mm-hmm.
But also if I step in because my child is starting to get a little like nuts about something, I'm going to step in because it's still my house, my child. I appreciate my parents helping out wherever possible. My parents know what I expect of them on how to take care of my children, but don't interfere. I don't care if I'm working or what the situation is between me and my child. No, it doesn't matter. That is me making sure my child is doing what I am raising them to do appropriately.
Yes. And their ass shall be beateth with greateth authority.
Krampus will be coming late this year.
That's righteth. And with that said,
too much with
that saideth, we willeth say goodbyeth.
But before we say goodbyeth,
that's right. We'll get.
Reminds you all to, first off, thank you very much for supporting the Geekfathers through 2022, a whole nother year. Guys, we know we had the hiatus and everything like that, and you guys have still come back. There was definitely some love and support with any of the post delays that we had to do, everything like that. So thank you very much for always being a part of, not only our family, but of course the GUI family. Everybody who's been there for us on multiple levels. Mm-hmm. And of course, one way that you have done that when you go to GUIpodcast.com, you not only listen to the episodes, remember, catch up on all those flagship episodes, because they're going to start being archived soon. I mean, you'll still have access to them, but there's not going to be any new ones.
That's right. But there's going to be plenty of new content coming.
Plenty of new content, new shows. We are still going. We're still kicking strong.
Yeah.
Oh, a burpee burp.
Yeah, we're not going anywhere.
No. We are still here.
Hate us, love us. I don't give a fuck.
Whatever. Just listen, and then if you like it, let us know.
That would be great.
Absolutely. We still have new stuff coming out this next year as well. We're getting back on, from the hiatus. We're a little bit delayed, but we're still working on new designs, new stuff for the show. As you can tell, we've redone our content a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And so hopefully everybody's been enjoying that. So since we've already gone on enough old man tangents this episode, I'm just going to leave it as another reminder of GUIPodcast.com. Check out all the shows. Check out all the episodes. Keep your ear out for all the new stuff that's happening. Go see our friends at TeePublic for all that wonderful gear. You know, if you've got some of those gift cards or you've got some of that extra Christmas money you're just waiting to spend, TeePublic is a great place to do that.
Quality shirts.
Absolutely.
Great designs.
Thank you to TeePublic for all the great gear that they've done, and they've been great supporters of GUI as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, guys, check out everything. Do what you can. Happy New Year. Happy holidays. We're coming into 2023. It may be slow, cautious, but we're coming in strong, and we're doing it together.
And take your time, but stay hopeful.
That's right, guys. So appreciate everything. Just don't forget, join us.
Or cry.
Coming straight from the mouths of madness, I'm Lowdown.
I'm Ep.129.
Do you love horror?
We fucking do.
So this is a podcast dedicated to all things in cinematic horror. We're talking movies, television, composers, special effects artists. We're gonna fucking cover it.
So if you love horror,
embrace the madness.
GUIPodcast.com